Listen closely. You can feel it, can't you? That quiet stirring in your spirit, the unshakable sense that something sacred is shifting behind the scenes. For so long it felt like you were holding fragments of a promise, like pieces of a divine puzzle scattered by time loss and waiting. But now, the air feels different. Heaven is aligning what once seemed broken apart. And soon you will see it, the final piece sliding perfectly into place. You have walked through confusion that almost broke you. You have carried questions heaven didn't answer right away. There were seasons when you thought maybe you missed it, maybe you misunderstood what God said. Yet through it all, something in your soul refused to let go. That's because this promise was never your imagination, it was divine orchestration. And now, the author of your destiny is bringing closure to the chapter that once felt incomplete. For years you've gathered fragments, moments of revelation, glimpses of breakthrough, whispers in the dark. But what you didn't know is that every waiting period, every setback, every not yet, was part of a perfect pattern that only heaven could weave. You were never standing still. You were being positioned. Every step, even the painful ones, was arranging the masterpiece. And now heaven is saying, the time of almost is over. The promise is no longer partial. The plan is no longer scattered. The waiting is no longer wasted. You are stepping into a season where clarity replaces confusion and divine completion replaces delay. The final piece, the one that didn't seem to fit before, is about to make everything make sense. This is not coincidence. This is culmination. God is not starting something new. He is finishing what he began. And when he completes it, every wound will have meaning. Every delay will reveal design, and every unanswered prayer will show its purpose. You are standing at the edge of fulfillment. Heaven has been assembling what your heart has been longing for. And as the final piece falls into place, you will realize nothing was missing. Nothing was wasted, and nothing was in vain. You see, when God begins a thing, he also finishes it. He never leaves a story half-written, a purpose half-formed, or a soul half-healed. What you've been walking through wasn't evidence of abandonment. It was proof of divine authorship. Every unanswered prayer, every delay, every detour was heaven holding the pen, writing a conclusion only he could design. There were times you tried to piece it together, yourself weren't there. You gathered fragments of hope and moments of insight, trying to make sense of what you felt inside. You wanted to understand why the timing felt off, why doors opened only to close again, why the vision you carried seemed to stall. But in those very moments, God was whispering, "Let me finish it." Heaven never rushes a masterpiece. The same hands that painted galaxies and balanced oceans were arranging the sequence of your becoming. And now those hands are moving again, not to begin something new, but to seal what was already set in motion. There are divine blueprints that only make sense at the end of the building. You've been walking inside the construction zone of your destiny, dust everywhere, scaffolding all around, unable to see the finished design. But the architect never lost the plan. What felt like chaos was actually precision. What seemed uncertain was quietly exact. And here's the truth that heaven is impressing upon you. Now completion is a sacred act. It's not just the end of effort, it's the unveiling of intention. When God completes something, he does it to reveal his nature. He finishes because his character demands wholeness. He cannot leave his chosen ones suspended in the middle of their becoming. You may not realize it, but the Spirit of God has been hovering over every unfinished area of your life. The same Spirit that hovered over the waters in Genesis, bringing form out of formlessness. He's doing it again. You are about to witness the same creative power that began your journey now, bringing it into full manifestation. So when things start aligning, when people return opportunities, reopen, and clarity replaces confusion, understand this? It's not random. It's divine order revealing itself. The same God who hid you for a season is now revealing you for a reason. And as he completes this chapter, something shifts in the atmosphere around you. You'll feel it in your spirit, that quiet assurance that says, it's done. Not almost, not nearly, but done. The story is catching up to the promise. Heaven's timeline is meeting your faith. What once felt incomplete is about to echo with the words only heaven can declare, it is finished. And now the mystery begins to unfold. The pattern that seemed scattered begins to shimmer with divine symmetry. For so long you were holding fragments, unable to see the full image, but heaven has been painting behind the veil. The brushstrokes of destiny were quiet, deliberate, unseen. Now the curtain is lifting. You are standing in the moment when hidden pieces converge. What once looked like contradiction will now reveal its connection. The closed doors, the detours, the heartbreaks, they weren't separate events. They were divine threads woven through time, each one aligning toward this precise instant. In the heavenly realm, there is a sound, the sound of alignment. It's not thunder, not chaos, but a subtle resonance that vibrates through the spirit of those who are ready. And that sound is echoing over your life now. The final piece is not just falling into place, it's unlocking everything attached to it. This is why the warfare intensified recently. The closer completion came, the louder resistance grew. Because the enemy knew once this piece aligned, you would see clearly, move boldly, and never doubt again. Every delay was a distraction meant to keep you from seeing that heaven was not denying you, it was designing you. And now that design is manifesting. The hand of God is turning what was once confusion into confirmation. What was once loss into leverage. What was once silence into song. The season that seemed endless is shifting. And the pieces that never made sense before are clicking together with divine precision. The Spirit of the Lord says, what you thought was the end was only the outline. I was sketching destiny in the dark, waiting for the light to reveal its colors. Now my light shines upon what was hidden. The form emerges. The picture is complete. This is the moment where destiny becomes visible. You will begin to notice divine timing, accelerating connections, resurfacing opportunities, reawakening, and clarity replacing uncertainty. What you prayed for is no longer distant. It's near within reach, tangible. But understand this, it's not just about a breakthrough you can see. It's about the becoming that took place within you. The final piece doesn't only complete the picture around you, it completes the person within you. God has been shaping your endurance, refining your discernment, and anchoring your faith so that when this moment arrived, you'd be ready to carry what's being released. The prophecy is simple yet profound. It is coming together. Everything you thought was scattered will align. Everything you thought was delayed will arrive. Everything you thought was lost will return multiplied, redeemed, and perfected. When this completion unfolds, you'll realize you were never behind schedule. Heaven's calendar has no missed appointments. Every delay was a divine pause, not punishment, but precision. You'll soon stand in awe of how God ties loose ends, reconciles contradictions, and redefines the impossible. Where you once saw fragments, you'll now see fulfillment. Where you once felt forgotten, you'll sense divine orchestration. And when it happens, you won't need to force anything. You'll simply recognize it, that sacred click of divine alignment, when everything finally makes sense. This is not a future hope. It's a now reality unfolding in spirit before it manifests in sight. The heavens are declaring over you, the completion has begun. Completion. It sounds simple, yet in heaven's language it is sacred. It is the moment when purpose meets preparation, when waiting meets fulfillment, when what was spoken finally takes shape in the natural realm. You see, completion is not just an event, it's a revelation of divine order. It's the unveiling of what was always there, hidden in process, wrapped in time, guarded by purpose. Every story written by God follows the same rhythm, beginning, breaking, building, and becoming. And though you have walked through all those phases, the one you are stepping into now is the most divine of them all, the sealing. It's the holy moment when heaven breathes on what it has formed and declares, "It is finished." Think of a seed buried in soil. For months, perhaps years, it seems forgotten, beneath the surface, unseen, unnoticed, uncelebrated. But beneath the darkness, God was shaping roots, preparing structure, ensuring stability. Only when the foundation is strong does the sprout pierce the soil. That's where you are now. Your hidden years were not wasted. They were the unseen construction of something eternal. Completion does not begin in the visible. It begins in the secret places, in silence, in surrender, in obedience. The moment you chose to keep believing even when heaven was silent, a piece of your promise fell into place. Every tear that fell in faith became a drop of divine ink, writing the last chapters of your prophecy. You've been walking through a season of refinement, not punishment, but purification. Just as gold must pass through fire before it shines, your spirit had to be tested before it could carry what's being completed. The fire didn't destroy you because it was never sent to harm you. It was sent to reveal what can't be burned away, the part of you made in His image, the eternal element of your destiny. The deeper meaning of this completion is restoration, the divine mending of what once felt broken beyond repair. Every shattered area of your past is being gathered into His hands, reshaped into something whole. What the enemy tried to fragment God is now fusing into power. You are not being restored to what you were before, you are being transformed into something new. Completion is not God returning you to the beginning. It is Him revealing why the beginning ever existed at all. And here's the mystery: God often completes things in silence. The loud seasons are for formation, but completion happens quietly, almost gently. Like dawn breaking without announcement, like a door unlocking without sound. You won't always see it happening, but you will sense it, that deep, peaceful awareness that says, something has shifted. Completion carries a spiritual weight. It's heaven's way of saying, now it's safe. Safe to bless you. Safe to reveal you. Safe to release what's been promised. Because blessing without foundation is collapse. But blessing built upon process is glory. So, if you've been feeling an inner calm lately, a stillness after long storms, it's not emptiness. It's the peace that comes when heaven finishes what it started. It's the same peace that rested on Jesus when He declared, "It is finished." The divine meaning of this moment is simple, yet profound. You have become the vessel God can trust with completion. The version of you that doubted, that rushed, that feared that version has been refined away. What remains is gold. And when heaven sees gold, heaven releases glory. This is the spiritual essence of completion, alignment of soul and destiny. The moment your faith matches His promise and your heart mirrors His heart. That is when the unseen becomes visible and what was prophesied becomes present. So breathe, rest. The divine equation is resolving itself. The pieces are falling where they were always meant to. You are not watching the end, you are witnessing fulfillment. And when the light finally hits the full picture of your story, you'll realize the journey wasn't just about what you would receive. It was about who you would become through the waiting. Completion is not the closing of your story. It is heaven's declaration that your life has reached divine alignment, the place where every part finally fits and nothing is missing anymore. There's a stillness in the air. Not emptiness, but expectancy. You've felt it lately, haven't you? That subtle shift as though something invisible has clicked into place. That's one of the first signs that heaven's work is nearing completion. The Spirit senses alignment before the mind can name it. When God begins to complete a thing, He sends confirmation, small sacred hints that whisper, "It's happening." These signs are not always loud. Sometimes they arrive like gentle echoes, reminding your heart that the unseen is becoming seen. The first sign is divine clarity after confusion. For so long you've walked through fog, unsure why things happened as they did, unsure which way to turn. But lately, pieces that once contradicted each other are starting to make sense. Conversations, delays, and even rejections now seem purposeful. Suddenly you know which direction brings peace. That's not coincidence, it's divine order unfolding. The second sign is unexpected peace in places that once caused pain. The wounds that used to ache no longer sting the same way. You find yourself revisiting old memories or old names, and instead of tears, there's calm. God has been closing emotional doors so gently that you almost didn't notice. And that's how you know He's finished the healing work inside you. The third sign is a sense of divine acceleration. What once took months now happens in days. The delays that frustrated you suddenly dissolve. Opportunities, resources, and connections begin to find you, not because you chase them, but because divine timing has synchronized. This acceleration isn't chaos. It's confirmation that heaven's sequence has reached the activation point. The fourth sign is divine reconnection or release. Some people you thought were gone forever may reappear with peace or closure. Others may quietly exit, and you'll feel no resistance, only relief. Both are signs of completion. When God finalizes a season, He aligns relationships to reflect new purpose. The fifth sign is heightened spiritual awareness. You start noticing patterns, numbers, repeating songs, speaking directly to your spirit, scripture, verses resurfacing from long ago. These aren't random coincidences. They are heaven's way of saying you're in sync. The veil between the spiritual and the natural thins when destiny approaches fulfillment. And for some, the final sign comes as a divine quiet. No more striving, no more pushing. It's as if heaven whispers, "Rest." The work is done. You stop feeling the urgency to prove yourself or force outcomes. Instead, peace settles over you like dawn light. If you've felt any of these clarity, calm, acceleration, alignment, or that deep quiet, then you're not waiting for completion anymore. You're standing in it. These are not random emotions. They are echoes of heaven's declaration. The cycle is closing. The circle is complete. Every sign you've sensed is God confirming that His hand has finished what it started. The final piece is not only falling into place, it's locking into purpose. But before the full unveiling, there is always a final stretch, a sacred tension between the promise and its manifestation. This is where many grow weary, wondering if the breakthrough will truly come. Yet the truth is this: the closer you are to completion, the more resistance you'll feel. Because when heaven begins to seal what it started, the atmosphere trembles. There's a reason it has felt harder lately. That heaviness, that strange fatigue, the sense that you're being stretched beyond what's reasonable, it's not punishment. It's pressure before release. The enemy always stirs confusion at the edge of clarity, because if he can make you doubt the timing, he can distract you from the door that's already opening. You may have noticed sudden emotional turbulence, days when peace feels distant, when old fears whisper again. Those moments aren't regressions. They're tests of endurance. They reveal how deeply rooted your faith has become. Heaven allows these tremors not to break you, but to prove that you can stand even when the ground shakes. There is also the challenge of silence. Right before manifestation, God often grows quiet, not because He's absent, but because He's trusting what He's already placed within you. It's like a teacher who stops giving answers during the final exam, not out of neglect, but because you've been prepared. When heaven is silent, it's because heaven is watching completion unfold. Then comes the challenge of perception. You may look around and still see fragments, prayers unanswered, situations unresolved. But remember, in the spiritual realm, completion always precedes visibility. What you call delay, heaven calls delivery in progress. The final piece has already been released. It's simply finding its place in your reality. Another challenge in this sacred phase is isolation. You'll notice that some people can't walk with you into completion. Their purpose in your process was temporary, to build, to refine, or to awaken something in you. When they fade, don't chase them. Their departure is not rejection, it's alignment. The weight of fulfillment requires space, and heaven is clearing the way. And perhaps the hardest challenge of all, learning to rest in motion. God may still move you through new instructions, even while the old promise is being fulfilled. It's the paradox of divine timing, walking by faith, even as heaven finishes what was promised. The key is not striving, but trusting. You are not working for the completion, you are walking within it. So if the days feel heavy and the nights feel long, take heart. This resistance is not a sign of something going wrong. It's the echo of something going right. The closer the masterpiece is to completion, the more the pressure builds. The final brushstroke always carries the greatest weight. Don't mistake spiritual warfare for failure. The shaking you feel is the sound of final alignment. Heaven is not testing your strength, it's confirming your readiness. Stand still in faith. The challenge is temporary, but the completion is eternal. Now that heaven is sealing what it began, you must walk with sacred awareness. Completion does not arrive passively, it requires partnership. God may finish the work, but He invites you to align your spirit with His timing. These are not ordinary days. These are days of divine precision, and every step you take now carries eternal weight. The Spirit of the Lord is whispering, "Be still, but stay ready." That is the balance of this season movement, without striving, patience, without passivity. You are being asked to live in rhythm with heaven's pulse, to move only when peace leads you, and to speak only when prompted. 1. Guard your atmosphere. When the final piece begins to fall into place, distractions will rise. The enemy cannot stop what God has finished, but he will try to pull your focus. Protect your atmosphere. Limit the voices that speak doubt and increase the voices that stir faith. Spend time in silence, not as emptiness, but as alignment. The quieter you become before God, the clearer His instructions will sound. Set boundaries in the spiritual and physical. Not everyone can see what's unfolding, and not everyone is meant to. Completion is a sacred space. Guard it like a holy altar. 2. Speak life into what is forming. Heaven responds to faith-filled words. Speak not from fear, but from fulfillment. Begin to declare over your life what God has already promised. It is done. Every time you speak life, you strengthen the vibration of divine completion around you. Your words are keys in the spiritual realm, each one unlocking greater alignment. Be mindful of what you confess. Don't describe what you see, declare what He said. Faith does not narrate the storm, it calls forth the calm. 3. Complete what is in your hands. Before God reveals the external completion, He often asks you to finish what's internal. Is there a task you've delayed, a small obedience you've postponed? Go back and close it. Heaven's rhythm is order. When you bring closure to unfinished things, you align your spirit with divine completion. Forgive where resentment lingers. Give where fear withheld. Finish assignments that once felt minor. Every act of completion on earth mirrors a greater completion in heaven. 4. Watch for divine nudges. The Spirit will begin to move gently, not in thunder, but in whisper. Pay attention to subtle guidance, a name that resurfaces a thought, that repeats a sudden urge to move or rest. Don't dismiss it as coincidence. These are the coordinates of divine strategy. The final stage of purpose is not about speed, it's about sensitivity. The smallest step, when Spirit-led, can unlock what years of effort could not. 5. Anchor yourself in gratitude. Gratitude is the language of completion. When you give thanks before you see the full manifestation, you announce to heaven that your faith is mature. Begin and end each day with thanksgiving, not because everything looks finished, but because you know it already is. Gratitude keeps your heart aligned with grace and shuts the door on anxiety. Say it often, God. I thank you that what you began, you are faithful to complete. Those words are not repetition, they are resonance. Each time you speak them, they echo in the unseen and draw manifestation closer. 6. Rest without letting go. Rest does not mean withdrawal, it means surrender. Allow God to carry the part you cannot control. You've done your part now. Trust the divine current to take you the rest of the way. True rest is not inactivity, it's faith in motion. There will come moments when you'll feel like you must act, when your mind says, push harder, but your spirit says, wait. Listen to the still voice. Completion has its own divine clock. You cannot rush what heaven has already scheduled. 7. Expect beauty. After stillness, every completed promise unveils new beauty. Keep your eyes open for small signs of wonder, moments of favor, glimpses of answered prayer, the quiet feeling that everything is finally aligning. Don't dismiss these as small. They are heaven's way of saying, look, it's here. You are not walking toward fulfillment anymore. You are walking within it. Now your task is simple. Stay aligned, stay grateful, stay aware. Completion is not a sudden miracle. It's a steady unveiling. Walk softly, speak faithfully, and let the divine pattern unfold. Heaven has already written the ending. All that's left is for you to step into it. As you walk through this final stretch, know this: you are not walking alone. Heaven's covering is surrounding you stronger and closer than you realize. The same hand that guided you through wilderness and waiting now becomes your shield in fulfillment. Divine completion does not come without protection. It arrives wrapped in it. In the Spirit, there are angels assigned to this season. They have been waiting for heaven's command to move on your behalf, and now the word has been released. Guard the completion. These angels move silently, redirecting harm, dissolving confusion, and ensuring that what God has sealed cannot be tampered with. You may not see them, but you will sense them, that sudden peace in chaos, that unseen strength when you thought you had none left. That is divine reinforcement. Every chosen one carries a mark of divine ownership, and heaven honors that mark. The storms may rage, but they cannot touch what has been consecrated. Completion attracts attention, both holy and hostile. Yet no force of darkness can undo what God Himself has finished. The same fire that refined you now surrounds you. It no longer burns within to test you. It burns around you to protect you. So when fear tries to whisper again, remember this truth. Protection is not something you beg for. It's something you already have. The shepherd who led you through the valley didn't leave when you reached the mountaintop. He simply changed his posture from leading to covering, from guiding to guarding. In this phase, God's protection will often look like peace that makes no sense. People may wonder how you remain calm amid transition. They won't understand that your safety isn't in circumstance, it's in covenant. You are covered by a promise older than your fear. When you feel spiritual opposition, sudden anxiety, strange heaviness, or distractions trying to drain your focus, don't react in panic. Simply speak, "No weapon formed against me shall prosper." What God has finished cannot be undone. Those words are not just defense, they are decree. Each time you declare them, you remind both heaven and hell that the seal of completion stands unbroken. And know this, your protection extends beyond you. Those connected to your purpose are being shielded too. The ripple of divine favor is widening. The same grace that guards your steps is guarding your household, your plans, your future. Let this truth settle in your heart. You are safe in the seal of God's completion. Nothing missing, nothing stolen, nothing broken. Every promise released into your life is now under divine custody until it manifests in full. So rest easy, beloved soul. You have fought long enough to arrive here. Now heaven fights for you. The Lord of hosts goes before you. The angels of light surround you, and his peace, the peace that passes understanding, will guard your heart and mind, like a fortress until every word he spoke comes to pass. And then, almost without warning, it happens. The moment your spirit has been sensing finally manifests in form. The air feels lighter, time seems slower, and the atmosphere carries a quiet majesty. You realize that the waiting has turned into beholding. What you once prayed for, cried over, and dreamed about is now before you, not as a wish, but as reality. Transformation begins subtly. It's not always fireworks and fanfare. Sometimes it feels like breathing differently for the first time in years. The heaviness you once carried begins to lift. The doubts that haunted you dissolve in the light of fulfillment. You look around, and though your surroundings may seem the same, everything feels different. Because it is. The alignment is complete, and the energy of heaven hums through every detail of your life. This is the sacred beauty of divine completion. It changes you more than it changes your circumstances. You are no longer the same soul who began this journey. The one who once questioned every delay now understands timing. The one who once feared being unseen now knows the power of being hidden. The one who once begged for answers now rests in revelation. Every scar glows with new purpose. Every broken moment reveals its blessing. Every unanswered prayer is now understood as protection. And in the stillness of realization, gratitude rises from the deepest parts of your being, not because you finally received what you wanted, but because you became who God always knew you could be. You'll notice that people respond differently to you now. Not because you've changed outwardly, but because the frequency of your spirit has shifted. Fulfillment carries a divine fragrance, peace authority, and quiet confidence. It doesn't demand attention. It commands it through presence alone. This transformation is not the end of your calling. It is the elevation of it. Completion is not closure, it's graduation. You've mastered a spiritual season, and now heaven entrusts you with more. What was once a wilderness becomes a vineyard. What once tested your faith now feeds it. And here's the mystery: once fulfillment manifests, it doesn't arrive with exhaustion, it comes with renewal. You'll feel energy return where fatigue lived. Ideas will flow easily again. Creativity will spark with divine rhythm. This is the restoration phase where God not only fulfills His word, but multiplies what was lost in waiting. Watch how everything begins to synchronize: relationships, opportunities, even divine timing. You'll start seeing beauty where there used to be ashes. You'll feel a steady sense of rightness, as if heaven itself is smiling over your steps. The world will look at you and call it luck. But your spirit will know this is prophecy fulfilled. This is the evidence that faith was not in vain. And yet, as glorious as this transformation is, it carries a quiet humility. You won't boast about what happened. You'll weep in reverence. Because when you stand inside fulfillment, you realize it was never really about you. It was always about God proving His faithfulness through your life. You will walk lighter, speak gentler, and dream bigger. You'll carry the peace of someone who has seen God's hand not from afar, but up close. The same fire that refined you now shines through you. The glow others notice isn't success, it's sanctification. And as heaven looks upon you, it declares the work is finished, but the purpose continues. You have become living proof that what God begins, He completes. And what He completes, He perfects. Take a deep breath. You've reached the other side of what once seemed impossible. The waiting, the wondering, the wandering, all of it has brought you here. You've walked through fire and emerged refined, not ruined. You've endured silence and discovered your own strength within it. And now heaven stands as witness to declare it is finished. This is your moment of divine stillness, where striving ends and receiving begins. Rest your soul in this truth. What God began in you, He has completed with precision. You are not behind. You are right on time. You are not forgotten. You are chosen for this exact hour of unveiling. Before you go, let these words sink into your spirit. Speak them aloud if you can. Let them anchor you as declarations of faith and finality, holy affirmations for a soul standing in completion. Affirmations of completion. 1. What God began in me, He has now completed, and I receive it in full. 2. Every delay has turned into divine alignment. 3. I walk in peace, not pressure, in fulfillment, not fear. 4. The final piece is in place, and my spirit is at rest. 5. Nothing missing, nothing broken, nothing wasted, all things made whole. Now close your eyes for a moment. Feel the weight of every burden lifting. The same presence that guided you through the storm is wrapping around you now in peace. You are standing beneath the radiant glow of divine completion. Heaven's light is touching everything that concerns you. And now receive this prophetic blessing. May the Lord who began your story now perfect every chapter. May His presence go before you and guard every promise that has come to pass. May your days overflow with clarity and your nights with peace. May every unfinished part of your heart find its rest in His wholeness. You are sealed, protected, and covered in completion. The doors meant for you will open effortlessly. The blessings meant for you will locate you swiftly. And the people meant for your next season will recognize the glow of glory upon you. No force can reverse what heaven has finalized. No opposition can undo what God has completed. From this day forward, may your life be a living testimony that God finishes what He starts. Breathe deeply once more, peace in, fear out. The journey is not ending. It is transforming. You have crossed the threshold from promise into fulfillment. Now walk forward, not as one waiting for it to happen, but as one living inside the promise itself. It is done. It is whole. It is complete.